Here's Hannibal back here from thehannibaltv.com. Tony Khan appeared on two podcasts lately. TMZ with a big, huge smile on his face, making a complete mockery out of me, as well as another podcast called the Crossover Podcast. And he addressed one thing. I guess Kevin Nash allegedly compared this Tony Khan thing with the neck with the Young Bucks to the finger poke of doom. He said this is going to have the same effect on AEW as the finger poke of doom had to WCW. And I do have to say this is like an insult to wrestling fans because we all know wrestling is fake, but you got to at least like sell an injury when you're supposedly injured. And he doesn't have to be doing all these media appearances. He could have his dad do the media appearances. He could have the new champion that's not really known to people do these media appearances, to people outside that watch AEW to help him over. But he's doing them with a big smile on his face, talking about how he's going to donate this to charity. He even that the Young Bucks are two of the greatest wrestlers. So like, wouldn't you hold some? He's actually said nothing negative in either of these interviews about the Young Bucks. Nothing. Wouldn't he want revenge? And wouldn't like he be talking about something other than, oh, I'm already talking about auctioning this neck brace off to charity? Wouldn't you want to be like, I don't know if my neck's ever going to be recovered, something like that? But he's making a joke out of wrestling. uh he responded to the Bill Goldberg saying AEW is cheesy, which it clearly has become a big joke. There was goofy stuff with the Orange Cassidy, the pizza guy flipping the pizza while he's wrestling. A lot of goofy stuff. The crazy late so many matches for a while there. I'm not saying like I actually am very quickly hating the product more and more and more the more of this kind of stuff I see. But here's what he had to say to Bill Goldberg. He says Bill was willing to work here and was interested in doing something. He had Zoom calls and phone calls and meetings about this in person. He says maybe he holds that opinion now, but he didn't hold that opinion before. And people do change opinions, and Tony says it's all about timing. He's wasted so much money on wrestlers that have made no difference. I mean, I'd love to know how much he spent on Page, who has done practically nothing in AEW. Goldberg actually would have been a difference maker. I mean, for the smart marks, yes, this Will Ospreay, they find his matches entertaining. He's made zero difference in the ratings. If you like flips and stuff, sure. And stuff that would never work in a real fight, sure. You'd find that entertaining. He also says Kenny Omega is returning Winnipeg Wednesday, where Chris Jericho is wrestling Shibata. And that main event in the 16,345 seat MTS Center in Winnipeg, or whatever it's called, Canada Life Center now. There's 3,626 tickets out, according to the Observer, including comps. So Kenny Omega, Don Callis's, and Chris Jericho's hometown, less than 4,000 tickets out right now. Um, Apparently, he also commented on this Camille from NWA, like they need another wrestler. They keep just hiring it on. There's practically no room for people on the roster because there's so many guys that are signed and hardly appear, and girls such as Paige, who I just mentioned. But oh, they've signed another one. He didn't confirm or deny. He just said that he'd be a good asset, but it's certainly being reported in lots of places that Camille is signed. He said Adam Copeland is a great leader. Although Copeland hasn't had ratings, I do see that he's been a great locker room leader, and I do agree with he's a guy people know, and when you're flipping channels, you'll stop to see Copeland. Plus, they had one of their better crowds recently in Toronto. Mind you, the small arena in Toronto where the minor hockey goes, but they still had one of their better crowds in recent months for Toronto that Jack Kilby actually attended. Ace Hunter says Tony Khan might join the Young Bucks. It will be the only reason to explain the poor acting. I just don't like that it's like it's just a joke. I agree in a way with Kevin Nash. Like it's not just how fake that segment looked. It's that he's supposedly sustained a serious neck injury, but he's been doing all these appearances other than the neck brace, wearing a neck brace, not selling it at all. And like he could have easily sent his dad, who by the way, he said his dad wasn't a wrestling fan really before AEW, but he says his dad watches AEW apparently. Of course, he owns the company, it's unfunding it. But like send someone else to do these appearances if you're supposedly hurt because we're not buying it. Remember that Jericho Mike Tyson angle? And I do like Jericho that where they tried to copy the Steve Austin Mike Tyson thing, and then they all took pictures after, and it just was a big joke. Nothing even ever came of it. And then Mike Tyson actually appeared on a podcast after saying AEW was basically a joke, and WWE. I think it was with Ric Flair. I think Ric Flair was on that. Maybe it was the Undertaker. No, it was the Undertaker. Mike Tyson had the Undertaker on his podcast. He was basically making fun of his own AEW appearances. So he's just trying to have fun, man. He is having fun. Yeah, I think you can't even compare Bischoff to Tony Khan. The success that they had early on was due to how hot guys like Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks were on the independent scene, and WWE was really bad at that point. People were looking for an alternative. Tony Khan definitely funded it, but as we can see by where they're at now, I don't know. I wish them the best, but I really kind of was disgusted about this interview just because I believe in kayfabe. I know kayfabe is out the window, but how is anyone supposed to be interested in this angle when you're joking about it and you're supposed to have a serious injury and all you can talk about is how you're going to auction off this neck brace, which why are you even wearing it? Because you got the big smile on your face and you don't seem to be in any pain at all. Why do you even need this neck brace?